I'm your host, Eric Eisenberg. Welcome to Hero Blend number 31. This summer, we saw a lot of hits and misses in the larger Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, with new films from Spider-Man, the X-Men, and a new entry from Marvel Studios. We're going to take a look back and break it all down, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This week, I'm once again happy to be joined by Mr. Silas Lesnick of ComingSoon.net Superhero Hype. How's it going, man?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
We have a lot to talk about because this summer was kind of the summer of the Marvel Multiverse. We saw many different versions of Marvel coming to the big screen in the form of first Spider-Man, then X-Men, and then most recently, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we're familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's really Marvel Multiverse.
Exactly.
With, different characters at different studios.
And I think some of us like to think that they all kind of exist within a same larger universe that could eventually have bridges between them.
So do all fictional universes.
Exactly. So everything is all the same, which is, I think... Should we end the video now? Is that what we should do? No. Let's jump into the start of the summer. Let's first talk about what kind of kicked things off. The summer blockbusters right in the first week of May. Amazing Spider-Man 2, because that was our introduction. And unfortunately, I think it was kind of a disappointment.
It was definitely a disappointment.
Yeah.
It was. It just wasn't there. It felt like a movie from the late '90s comic movie. There's a lot to like. There's great scenes. There's some great acting.
Absolutely. I think the performances, particularly by Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, are spot on. I even like Dane DeHaan as the new version of Osborn. But I guess what the problem is that this movie kind of just falls into, we've seen this before. Once again, it's kind of just building on the same origin story that we didn't necessarily want to see in the first one, and it's also just kind of a mess. In terms of script, it's really all over the place. The villains are really underdeveloped. This is a movie with a lot of problems.
Yeah, and it's just a movie that its problems outweigh the good, and it's too bad. It's the type of movie that while I didn't particularly like it, I'm still excited for more. I still have faith in Mark Webb that he has some kind of vision for this, but it's not coming through. I
think that's kind of what we have to hope for. I think Mark Webb is an extremely smart filmmaker. He obviously has a larger vision for this franchise, as does Sony. I mean, they want this to turn into something. So far, it's been dealing with a few hiccups, and it's going to have to get over a few hurdles. It has to look at what its competitors are doing right, because they're doing a lot of things right that they're not getting right, and they think that moving forward they have to kind of focus on that kind of material.
I kind of hope they don't, in a weird way. I kind of hope that they don't look at... They just do your own thing.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, there are methods of success that you can... Yeah. That are to be learned.
But the trouble is Spider-Man has... I mean, it's not even trouble. It's a great thing. Spider-Man has so many characters, so many villains. You can have your own Marvel universe just with Spider-Man characters, and it looks like that's what they're looking at now. I hope it's its own thing and not an imitation of what Marvel's doing so well.
Well, honestly, the fact that they're moving forward with Sinister Six so quickly, Sinister Six is a project that no other studio, I mean, DC, Fox, or any of them, have in development. No one is doing a superhero movie from the perspective of villains. If that is actually what they're doing, it could be fantastic. It's going to be an experiment. We'll see if it pays off. But we're not going to...
Well, let me ask you this as sort of a segue. At the end credits of Spider-Man, we saw footage from X-Men, which was a strange thing, and it ended up being a weird studio deal. As far as if you were, say, X-Men and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are mutually exclusive, which one do you want to take on Mark Webb's Spider-Man universe? It's not actually happening, but if it could, which one do you think it fits in better?
Which one? Honestly, I'd probably have to choose X-Men, if not only because, as we'll soon talk about, it completely redid its continuity, so who knows what's actually happening out in the larger world, but also not too many scenes in New York City, so Spider-Man could totally fit in there.
Yeah. Absolutely. X-Men were usually the best crossovers in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics anyway.
That's another thing, is that there's a lot of history between, I mean, they both happen to inhabit New York State, but Spider-Man and X-Men, I'd love to see that crossover someday, but I guess, yeah, that does make a good segue. Let's talk about X-Men Days of Future Past, shall we?
Absolutely.
With our Trash Cats. We do not advocate anti-mutant behavior on anyone's behalf. He might. I don't. X-Men Days of Future Past. I think one of the biggest surprises this summer. I was very excited. There's Hero Blend footage to back this up. That I was very excited for X-Men Days of Future Past going in, but I think it is. I think with this kind of distance, I think it is the best film in the franchise so far. I think it was incredibly well done considering how much it actually had to cover. I think it did amazing things for the franchise, and again, I am really looking forward to seeing what's going on in the future here.
I loved X-Men Days of Future Past, and I can't wait to watch it again whenever it comes out. The one drawback I will say is, as a fanboy, there was sort of a, like, wait a minute, so every X-Men movie we've seen till now just sort of hasn't really happened.
Not only hasn't happened, it's just gone.
And I get it, but like, I went through this with Star Trek. It's a little annoying.
I do get that. And also, I mean, I will say, if we are going to be talking larger criticisms, is that I do kind of wish that the film was a little bit more balanced. As it is, the movie is very much, I think, the 70s stuff is really the central focus of this film. And it does sound like a lot of the future stuff was kind of left on the cutting room floor. I'm looking forward to an extended cut of this film because I really enjoyed that future stuff, and I kind of want it to come through more. And yeah, I think that's something that I would say. I really like the blending of these casts. If you are going to be eliminating that old continuity, they should still find some way to keep those versions of the characters in play.
And I hope they speed things up, too, because I will say one of the things that Marvel has going for it is when I know there's another movie in a few months, I want to see the movie I just saw again to get ready for it, because I know something else is about to happen. With X-Men, I'm just as excited for another movie, except I know it's going to be 2 years. 3 years?
X-Men Apocalypse was 2016, so 2 years.
Which is a while.
That's a while, especially when you consider the fact that, I mean, you have Spider-Man regularly pumping out films, and Marvel Studios and DC are both now competing to 2-3 films per year, which Fox isn't keeping up with. I mean, one every 2 years. Like, this is the time for them to start launching spin-offs, to start really, like, expanding the brand and building a universe, which, I mean, Fantastic Four potentially could be part of it. We don't know the finer details of that just yet, but it's an interesting start.
Absolutely. I'm sort of mixed feelings on, because I have no idea what Fantastic Four is going to be, and again, I kind of hope it's its own thing first and foremost, and if it comes to crossing over with the X-Men later, great.
Well, how fascinating would it be if you extended the multiverse so you had a Fantastic Four multiverse, X-Men multiverse, and that way everything is kind of in its own multiverse, and then eventually you have the Fantastic multiverse crossover with X-Men, and then you have multiverses linking in some degree, but then it kind of opens the door. Oh, maybe there's more stuff over here. I think that's totally legitimate. Yeah, let's go with that. Of course, we'll probably still have to wait that. But
I like to personally think that the No More Mutants thing that happened in the comics actually happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the X-Men universe is sort of like a pocket universe.
Isn't it?
For my own. My own edification.
Sure.
Yeah. Because all the mutants are there because they can't exist in the real world.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Fine, we'll roll with that for now. There is your no prize answer to how all of these films actually fit together. But to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think you have to kind of go into our most recent blockbuster, which was, as my shirt says, I should get rid of trash, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which, again, wow. Well, X-Men and Spider-Man we've both seen before. Guardians of the Galaxy is something completely new, and it blew me away. This film, unlike anything we've seen from Marvel, it's really a blockbuster unlike anything we've really seen, and I loved it to death.
Yeah, my mom, who doesn't go to see movies, called me to tell me she saw Guardians of the Galaxy and loved it. It's hitting a lot of audiences.
Yeah,
and I don't think I've talked to anyone. I think the worst reaction is it's not as great as you guys think. It's good,
right?
But I haven't heard anyone that hates it, and I don't really see how you could.
It's a message that is purely about positivity. I mean, at the end of this film, I don't want to get into too many spoiler territories, but it's like about the power of friendship defeating evil, and that's optimism, man. That's strong stuff, and it's such a positive film that plays great with tone. I mean, you have incredibly heartfelt moments, and the entire thing is just absolutely hysterical. I mean, I think it's the funniest Marvel movie to date. I think.
Oh yeah,
do you agree with that?
I think that's fair.
And also, it opens up so many opportunities within the Marvel Universe because you now know that you can try different things and succeed, and I can't wait to see where that leads.
It's neat. Even, I mean, honestly, I think if Guardians came out and had nothing to do with Marvel, it would still be a great, fun movie. But the thought that all of these things, especially Thanos, who sounds like it is Avengers 3 that we're gonna...
It sounds like that's what they're all leading towards. But I mean, we're first getting a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as part of Phase 2. Presumably I think that's probably going to start threading those links. It's going to start creating more of those connections with the larger universe. Though, I mean, obviously we have a long way until, I think it's July 2017 until that movie comes out. So there's a lot of Marvel Universe that can kind of maybe build towards Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Plus, it will lead into whatever the hell Marvel Universe has planned going forward, which is just all around fascinating. Like but also, I mean, to a larger point though, you can now also, why not expand the Marvel cosmos? Like, in addition to Guardians, there are a lot of other characters that you could give solo movies out there. I mean, hell, Nova Adam Warlock, we can probably expect to be in Guardians 2. But there are a lot of interesting characters, and Marvel now knows that their brand is strong enough to propel those kind of projects to success. It's really an interesting time.
So, what are you looking for next year?
Next year,
what's the one big Marvel
Avengers
movie
2,
for you?
right? I mean, it's got to be Avengers 2. I mean, that movie is I think the first Avengers is one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. It's ranked as number 3. It's the sequel to the biggest blockbuster of all time. The footage that we saw at Comic-Con looks so incredibly fantastic and completely unlike the first Avengers film. Yeah, I think that has my vote. You?
You're right, but I'm going to say Ant-Man just because
Ant-Man, okay.
I'm a big fan of Ant-Man, and
I'm very excited for
happy
Ant-Man.
he's actually getting a movie.
That's the fact that it's actually happening now is kind of miraculous. Yes.